Hello, my name is Katherine Feiner, and I'm an Associate Dean of Undergraduate Admission here at Catholic University. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video and learn a little bit more about our school. I'm going to be talking about the background of our university, our majors and programs that we offer, some of the things that make us unique, and then I'll also talk a little bit about the application process. If you have additional questions after watching this presentation, I definitely recommend checking out our website. We have a ton of resources there. And I also recommend following this with our virtual campus tour. It's a great representation of our university and will give you a lot more insight into what our campus life is like here on campus. So I'm going to get started. I'll share my screen and then we can get going with the presentation. So Catholic University was founded back in 1887 by Pope Leo and the Catholic bishops at the time, and we were founded as a graduate institution. So one of the things that has really carried forward with us to this day is our focus on research. We were really founded as a research center. So today we have about 31 different on-campus research centers. And every spring, we host a research day where students, faculty, and staff come together as a campus community. We cancel courses for all students, and we get to see all of the different research that our students and faculty have been working on throughout the year. One other distinctive quality about our school is that we're actually the national university of the Catholic Church here in the United States. We're not affiliated with a particular religious order, though there's definitely members of religious orders on campus, but we're actually just the National University of the Catholic Church, so we're affiliated directly with the church. A little bit about our campus population. We have about 3,300 undergraduate students here at Catholic University, so that makes us a small to medium-sized school. We also have about 2,600 students between our graduate programs and our law school, so definitely not an overwhelming size. And for students making a transition from high school to college, especially if you go to a smaller high school, this is usually a comfortable transition for our students. About 80% of our student population does self-identify as Catholic, and we're certainly a faithfully Catholic institution, but we're also welcoming of students of all faith backgrounds. So this is a place where students can really practice their faith in a way that's meaningful to them, but it's certainly something that's integrated into the fabric of our campus community, and our Catholic faith is something that we're really proud of and that we really celebrate here on campus. Speaking of our campus, we are a residential college campus. Even though we're located in Washington, D.C., we're in a major city, a major metropolitan area, our students really benefit from our campus community. And about 98% of our first-year students live in campus housing. We have a 3-year residency requirement at Catholic, so that means at least your first 3 years of undergraduate study will be spent living on campus unless you're commuting from home within a certain radius. And we do have the largest self-contained campus here in Washington, D.C., which is a huge bonus for our students. You can see the picture on the screen right now. That's an artist's rendering of our new dining commons. That's currently under construction. We've recently cleared the land where that dining facility is going to be going, and it's going to greatly expand our student space and our dining options here on campus. That's projected to be completed in 2021. So for any current seniors, it would probably be around the end of your freshman year or beginning of your sophomore year. Any juniors or below, chances are the entire time you're a student here at Catholic, you'd get to take advantage of our dining commons. One of the biggest advantages of going to school in DC is being able to utilize the city and all of the fun things that we have going on. We have major professional sports teams, of course, the monuments and museums, so many free opportunities for students to, explore the city. And we here at Catholic have immediate metro access. The metro is our version of the subway. And this picture that you see right here is actually a map of the DC subway. So in the upper right-hand corner, you can see a star. That's on the Brookland Catholic University metro stop. So students literally cross the street from one of our campus buildings and hop on the metro and are downtown in a matter of minutes. This comes in really handy for internship opportunities, but also for transportation back home. 3 stops away from campus is Union Station. That's where you can get the Amtrak train, Greyhound bus, Megabus. So it's a great way for students to take advantage of that public transportation if they're going home for a long weekend, or want to explore other parts in the Northeast Corridor. 3 stops away from campus is also where you can access Capitol Hill. Many of our students will start interning on Capitol Hill as early as their freshman year. Having that access to the city really does make those internships extremely easy to maintain. And speaking of internships, one of the things that we're really excited about that's been a recent development in the last few years is our comprehensive approach to academic and career advising. Many colleges and universities have separate offices for academic advising and career advising, but we really didn't think that made sense for today's students because the conversations that you have with your academic advisor about your major, the courses that you want to take, those lead really naturally into what's going to set me up to be successful at an internship. Who do I talk to about my resume? How do I start thinking about job opportunities or graduate school after college? And so we took those 2 separate offices and combined them into one Center for Academic and Career Success. So the same place that students go to register for their classes in the beginning of their first semester freshman year is the same place that will help them to find that job after graduation. The slide that you're seeing now, these are just a few examples of the places that our students intern, and the statistics at the bottom of the screen, 76% of our students in the class of 2018, our graduating seniors, had completed an internship, and more than 61% had completed 2 internships or more. And again, that connection with Washington, D.C., that access to all that a major city has to offer really benefits our students when it comes to maintaining and getting these internships. We also have a really personalized academic experience. Students have a really close connection with their professors right from the very start, and our average class size is 19 students. We also have a 7-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So as I said, you're really getting to know your professors, and they take an invested interest in our students and their academic success. Now, one of my favorite things about Catholic University is the diversity of our academic programs. We have 12 schools of study, 9 that serve undergraduate students, with about 79 different degree programs to choose from. And these are really unique combinations. You're not going to find all of these academic offerings at many schools. You'll find 1 or 2, maybe 3 of the combined offerings that we have here, but it's very unlikely that you'll find them all together. So I'm going to quickly go through our colleges just to give you a sense of the majors and programs that we offer. But for more information and more details, each one of our colleges has their own website that is really thorough and gives you a ton of information about what's offered through those programs. So our School of Arts and Sciences houses the largest number of majors, and many of those include, things like communication, politics, history, the sciences. But arts and sciences is also where students in our exploratory program will start. So our exploratory or undecided students will begin in the College of Arts or the School of Arts and Sciences and have an additional advisor that will really help them to determine which major is going to be right for them. It's becoming more and more common for students to start here at Catholic and at schools across the country as exploratory because they're really getting the chance to leave their options open and pursue a variety of interests and not really settling in on a major until they've really decided what they're passionate about and what interests them. So it really gives them much more time and much more flexibility to get started. But we also have a lot of great majors for students who know exactly what they want to study. Our Bush School of Business is one of our fastest growing programs here at Catholic. The Bush School recently opened a brand new building on campus back in January of 2019, and it's the hub for our School of Business. Lots of state-of-the-art facilities, and it's right across the street from our metro stop. So business students really get to take advantage of those internships in the city and this brand new home for the School of Business. So one thing I always like to point out in the business school, we do have a business exploratory track as well. So for students who are thinking that they want to study business, but aren't really sure if they want marketing versus management versus finance, they have time within the business school to really explore those different courses and figure out which particular major is going to be right for them. But they're still starting with that cohort of business students and getting to experience all of those introductory business courses alongside their fellow classmates. We also have a School of Architecture and Planning. The School of Architecture and Planning has some amazing facilities here on campus, individual studio spaces for our upper class students, 3D printers, all of the things that you would need. And one thing I like to highlight in the School of Architecture and Planning is definitely our IPAL program. It's the Integrated Pathway to Architecture Licensure. And essentially, for students who are thinking about becoming an architect, the traditional path to becoming a licensed architect, including your undergraduate, graduate, and intern phase of your progression through that pathway, would take about 14 years, and 13 to 14 years. With participation in the IPAL program, you can cut that time to becoming a licensed architect pretty much in half. You're looking at about 6 to 7 years to complete that. So it's really exciting and a great opportunity for students to really accelerate their path to getting that licensure and becoming a licensed architect. We also have a School of Engineering. Similarly to the School of Business, we do offer an engineering exploratory track. I know many students who are thinking about engineering know that they like the sciences, they like the STEM fields, but maybe aren't quite sure what discipline within engineering is right for them. This allows them to, again, start in those introductory engineering courses and then determine as they work with their professors and take their classes which one's going to be right for them. We have an amazing School of Nursing here at Catholic, the Conway School of Nursing. We recently received one of the largest donations in university history, a $20 million gift that was directed to the School of Nursing, which is going to be the lead donation for the construction of a new nursing and sciences building. So we're really excited about that for our nursing students. We also have the Benjamin T. Rome School of Music, Drama, and Art. All of our Bachelor of Music programs do require an audition as a part of the application process. Any of our Bachelor of Arts degrees, so music, drama, those do not require an audition. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're going through the application process, knowing whether or not you need to complete an audition. One thing I also like to point out is that if you are passionate about music, you perform in your high school musicals, maybe you're in a music ensemble, but you don't want to pursue that as a major, all of the ensembles that we have here on campus and all of the performances are open to the entire campus community to audition for. So you don't necessarily have to be in the School of Music, Drama, and Art to continue pursuing that interest if that's something that you have. We also have the National Catholic School of Social Service. We offer Bachelor and Master's of Social Work programs, including a 5-year Bachelor and Master's program. And we are the top Catholic school of social work in the United States. So if you're planning on pursuing social work at a Catholic institution, you really won't find better than here at Catholic University. And then our last two schools, the School of Philosophy and the School of Theology and Religious Studies. All students will take some courses within the School of Philosophy and School of Theology, as we do have those as requirements for all students, regardless of major. And many students will actually choose to minor or double major in one of these two schools. Taking those required courses, you are very close to a major early on. So it's very common to see an accounting major with a minor in philosophy or an engineering major with a minor in theology. So just something to keep in mind. At the bottom of the screen, you can also see we do have some pre-professional programs, pre-med, pre-dental. Those are all advisory programs. And we do offer a 3+3 bachelor's and JD program with our law school. Our law school is right here on campus, so students can actually continue seamlessly from their undergraduate into their law school experience. And instead of doing 7 years between undergrad and law school, it's 6 years, 3 years in undergrad and 3 years in their JD. So that's not something that students apply for out of high school. It's something that you would apply to as a current student here at Catholic. But if you're already thinking about law school, if you think that path is something that you're going to pursue, I'd highly recommend keeping in mind that we do have that program available. As I mentioned, I went through those majors pretty quickly. I just wanted you to get a sense of what we offer, but definitely spend some time exploring on our website and learning more about the area that interests you. One way that we really try to bridge the gap between high school and college for our students is through our first year experience program. Students are grouped into learning communities of 18 students, and those students take 4 classes together over the course of their freshman year. 2 in the fall and 2 in the spring. You'll be taking English, philosophy, and theology courses with that group of students. It's a great opportunity to have some courses with students that you feel comfortable with, that you wouldn't be afraid to raise your hand in front of, and that you can kind of lean on as your support system as you make that transition from high school and go through your freshman year. So our students really enjoy that and like to take that opportunity to really make connections in their first year. We do have a university honors program here at Catholic. Students participating in the honors program are selected during the application process. We don't have a separate application. Every student who applies for admission to Catholic University is considered for our honors program. We do a very rigorous review of your academic record throughout high school. I'll talk about that later. But because of that, we feel very strongly that we're able to recommend students for the honors program who we think are a good fit. These students are taking much more intimate seminar style classes, and they're usually interdisciplinary, but centered around a particular topic or theme. So students will take what we call tracks that really focus on a particular topic or idea. One example is sustainability and the environment. And they look at it from a lot of different perspectives. So you'll look at it from an ethical perspective, a scientific perspective, a political perspective. So it's a really unique opportunity for students to explore and take a deep dive into a particular topic. You also get amazing advising on postgraduate scholarships and different opportunities post-grad, and a lot of other great benefits as being a part of that program. If you're not selected out of high school, there is still the opportunity to apply internally to the honors program. Students in their first year maintaining a certain GPA can apply into the program as current students here at Catholic. We have a ton of education abroad opportunities here at Catholic University. We have programs on 6 out of 7 continents, and students not only are able to study abroad, but they can also intern abroad. One of my favorite examples of that is we have standing internships with the British Parliament and the Irish Parliament. So students who are interested in politics and government have the opportunity to not only intern right here in DC on Capitol Hill, but experience a completely different style of governing by going over to the UK and interning with the British Parliament. So it's a great opportunity. We make it possible for students in every single major to study abroad because we know how beneficial that can be to enhancing your college experience. So even if you're a nursing major or an engineering major, you can include a study abroad in your experience here at Catholic. We have a very vibrant campus community. I mentioned earlier in the presentation that we have a 3-year residency requirement. So our students are living here on campus. They're spending time in the Washington, D.C. area and really getting actively involved in our campus community. We have over 100 student clubs and organizations. There are events happening pretty much every single night of the week. We also sponsor trips into Washington, D.C., very active campus ministry, and a very active community service culture here on our campus. We don't have any community service requirements, but many of the students who choose Catholic University are very passionate about and committed to serving their communities. So we have daily service opportunities that students can participate in, but we also have 2 campus-wide days of service each year, one in the fall and one in the spring, where the entire campus community comes together and performs community service throughout the DC area. So if that's something that you really enjoy or is important to your college choice, that's something you'll be able to find here at Catholic. We have some excellent Division III men's and women's sports teams. We have 25 NCAA teams. About 30% of our student population is student athletes. So you're going to know the people who you're watching at a football game or at a basketball game. They're going to be your roommates, your classmates, your friends. It might be you. So it's a really big part of campus life here and something that students actively participate in. We also have club sports, intramural leagues, and 2 fitness centers on campus. So even if you're not a Division III athlete, you still have the opportunity to get involved and stay active here at Catholic. We also have 2 outdoor basketball courts and tons of green space on campus. So you really get to stay active at Catholic. The last thing that I'll mention before I talk about the application process is that I've talked about a lot of different resources that we have available already, but we really find that our students are making the most of their time here, and it's really helping them after graduation. So we surveyed our class of 2018. Within 6 months of graduation, 95% of them were either employed in graduate school or doing some sort of full-time service. So we're really proud of our alums, and we think that all of the opportunities that we have here and all of the resources are what make it possible for those students to be so successful. We also have a great network of alumni, nearly 100,000 people across the country, and every alum that I meet has a different story about what a great experience they had here, and how thankful they are for how Catholic University launched them into their career. So I've given you a lot of information already, but some of the most critical is coming up, so stay with me. You've learned a lot. Now, how do you apply? Well, it's a really straightforward process, and something that, students, we have all of this information online, so you can find this also, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on it so that you're thinking about that as you move towards the application process. So we're a common application exclusive school. The only application you can apply to us through is the Common App. So that's pretty simple and straightforward. The Common App becomes available on August 1st, but our first application deadline is November 1st. That's our early action deadline. So while you can apply August 1st, we won't begin reading any applications until we hit that November 1st deadline. So take your time, get those recommendations from your teachers, take time on your essay, and submit that application when you're ready. Early action is non-binding. It just means you apply early, you get a decision early, and you have all the way until May 1st to decide whether or not to enroll. So we highly recommend that students apply early action. It just gets you that information sooner and gives you much more time to really visit us again, visit our campus and see if this might be the right fit for you. Now, for students who this is your absolute first choice, you couldn't see yourself going anywhere but Catholic, we do have an early decision 1 deadline, which is November 15th. Early decision is a binding decision, and you can only apply early decision to 1 school. So it's definitely something that you have to think long and hard about. You're saying, if I am accepted to Catholic University, I will enroll there. So we generally recommend that early action deadline, but either way, if you apply early action or early decision, no later than January 1st, you will have an admission decision and will be notified if you were selected to receive any merit-based scholarships. Now, for those students, in late January, they'll find out about any need-based financial assistance. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But those students will get that information a little bit later in January. Now, for students who want to apply a little later in the process, maybe they start their college search a little bit later, or they're interested in having their senior year grades included as a part of their application review, we also have a regular decision deadline and an early decision 2 deadline. Both of those are January 15th, and those students will find out about their admission decision in early March. Admission decision and merit scholarships. So again, we recommend that November 1st deadline so that you can get your admission decision a little bit earlier in the process. But either way, students receive equal consideration for admission and for merit-based scholarships, whether they apply early action or regular decision. Regular decision applicants will find out about any need-based financial aid in late March. And then again, all students have until May 1st to decide whether or not to enroll at Catholic. Now, we have a slightly different timeline for transfer students. Transfer applicants can apply on a more rolling basis, but we do have application deadlines. So, transfer applicants need to apply by November 1st for spring admission and by July 15th for fall admission. We need your college transcripts, a couple other materials, but we do have dedicated transfer counselors who will work with you throughout this process if you're planning on transferring from another institution. Now, for first year students, just to circle back, we need your common application in order to read your application, but we also need a few other things. Your official high school transcripts, that's from any high schools you've attended. So if you've gone to more than one, please make sure we get all of those. Your school report and counselor letter. That information comes from your high school guidance counselor and is basically a school profile along with a letter of recommendation, just giving us more context about your academic experience. We also ask for a letter of recommendation from a teacher. We use the Common App essay, so you can use any of the topics that the Common App provides. And then we also have an optional Catholic University statement. In the Catholic University statement, we just want to know why us. Why are you thinking about Catholic? Why do you think that we might be a good fit for you academically and a place for you to pursue your goals? So just tell us a little bit more about that. And then finally, SAT or ACT scores are completely optional. You will still be considered for admission and for scholarship consideration with or without SAT or ACT scores. So it's totally up to you. If you want to submit them, that's great. But if not, don't feel pressured to. And then the last note at the bottom of the screen, Catholic University does not charge an application fee. So if you are applying for admission, it won't ask you for any kind of a fee waiver or any kind of a code. You'll just be able to submit without making any type of payment. Now, when we're reviewing your application, we're looking for a few different things. We're really looking at that whole application from your activities, your service, your leadership. We want to know why you're interested in us. But one of the first things that we do is recalculate your GPA. Every high school has a slightly different grading scale, has slightly different ways of presenting information on your transcript. So it's helpful for us to take that information off of your transcript and put it into a format that allows us to see your GPA each year, but also your GPA by subject area. So we're looking at your English, math, history, science, theology, foreign language. We're looking at all of those courses, and we want to see where your strengths are. We want to see how you've progressed throughout high school. Because while that GPA is important, that doesn't tell us the whole story. We want to really know how you got to that GPA and how you have progressed throughout high school and how prepared you are now to take that next step into college. So we'll look at your GPA. We also assess your strength of curriculum. So we're looking at how many honors classes, AP classes, but not just how many you took, how you progressed. Did you take more and more challenging classes each year? And then also what was available at your high school. If your high school offers 2 AP classes and you took 2 AP classes, we're going to give you credit for that. So we'll definitely take a look at that. We'll see your test scores if you submit them, your class rank if that's available, but not every school sends that. So we're really just looking at all of that information to see if you can be a good fit for our institution and if we're a good fit for you. We do have the option of a personal interview, though that's not required for admission. No students are required to interview, but interviews can be a great way for us to get to know something about you that maybe we couldn't read in your application. You can tell us things that you're proud of. You can, share any kind of challenges that you might have faced throughout high school. And it also gives you the opportunity to get questions answered. Throughout the fall, our admissions staff travels across the country, going to college fairs, visiting your high schools. And so we also hold regional interview days where you can come meet with us one-on-one for a brief interview. And usually it's much closer to home than for you to come to campus for an interview. So as we get through the fall, as we get closer to the fall, we'll definitely notify you to let you know when your admission counselor is going to be in your area. And if you'd like to schedule an interview, you can do that directly with them. When we're considering you for admission, we're also considering you for merit-based scholarships. Our Catholic University scholarship ranges from about $16,000 to $28,000, and those are annual scholarships. So students are receiving those scholarships for all 4 years that they attend Catholic University. We also have a parish scholarship. That is for students who are members of a Catholic parish, and you apply for that scholarship through the Common Application. So when you're completing your Common Application in the Catholic University section, we'll ask you if you'd like to apply for the parish scholarship. Say yes, and you'll be considered for receiving that award. And that is an additional $4,000 annual scholarship. We do also have a legacy grant for students with a parent, grandparent, or sibling who's graduated from Catholic University. You also apply for that through the Common Application, so just make sure you list that information on your application if it applies to you. We do have a full tuition award, our Archdiocesan Scholarship. It is our most competitive award for our highest achieving students. We award about 5 of those scholarships each year out of an application pool of around 6,000 students. So again, it is extremely competitive. It's both considered based on your academic performance throughout high school, but also your intellectual curiosity, your extracurricular involvement, your leadership. We're looking at all of those things when we're considering students for the Archdiocesan Scholarship. So it is competitive, but those scholarships are available. Students selected for the Archdiocesan Scholarship will be notified after the time of admission, and they will have already received some form of merit scholarship. If they're selected for the Archdiocesan Scholarship, we do have an interview process, and that scholarship, if awarded, would replace anything else that you've already received. Now, those merit-based scholarships, all of the scholarships on the previous slide, are completely merit-based. That means we only consider your academic credentials when awarding those scholarships. Financial need is not taken into consideration. For any additional need-based financial aid, we ask families to complete both the FAFSA and the CSS profile. The CSS profile is an additional financial aid application through the College Board, the same people who do the SAT and AP, and it just gives us a better picture of students' financial need and the situation that your family is in. It helps us to most appropriately award the aid to the students who need it. And that aid can come in the form of federal need-based financial aid, as well as federal work study, student loans, but it can also come in the form of institutional need-based aid. So even if you don't think that your family will qualify for federal aid, it's still worthwhile to apply for the FAFSA and the CSS profile, because we might be able to award you institutional scholarships through alumni donations, through our endowment, that you won't be able to be considered for if we don't have those financial aid applications. So it's definitely worthwhile for you to complete those, and our financial aid office is more than happy to answer any questions that you might have as you go through that process. Over 95% of our students receive some form of financial assistance or scholarship. So it's really important to make Catholic University an affordable option for you and your family to complete those financial aid applications. So I just gave you a lot of information, but what's next? Depending on where you are in the admission process, you might be taking different next steps. We offer admitted student events throughout the spring for students who have applied and already been accepted. And we really encourage you to come back to campus, or come to campus, to really experience what life is like here and see if we might be a good fit for you. So for admitted students, keep an eye on our website, and we'll notify you about any upcoming events that we're going to be hosting here on campus. But for high school students, sophomores and juniors, we really encourage you to check out our summer programs for high school students. Those are in various areas like architecture, theology, business, drama, and those give you the opportunity to live on campus. You'll live in the residence halls. You'll be here for a week or 2-week program. You'll really get to see what life is like here at Catholic University and see if we might be a good fit for you before you ever even submit your application. So information about summer programs can be found on our website, and I'd highly recommend that you check that out. And then the last thing that I recommend is definitely connecting with your admission counselor. We have admission counselors assigned to the area where you live. So there's someone for each student. And we do it that way because we get to know your high school. We get to know your school counselor. We may even know students who have applied from your high school before you. and we ultimately read your application. So we're familiar with you as a student before you ever submit that application online. So definitely reach out to your admission counselor. That information is also listed on our website. So just take a look for your state, or some states we split up by region. So definitely connect with your admission counselor and let them know that you're interested in learning more or setting up an interview with them when they're in your area. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. We're everywhere. Most of our handles are CUA admissions, so definitely follow us and check that out. Again, my name is Catherine, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video today. Highly encourage you to check out our virtual tour and spend some time seeing what campus is really like. We hope to welcome you to our campus in the near future, and wish you all the best of luck with your college search process.